Okay, we are officially recording. Okay, go ahead, Johnna.
Okay. Well, good morning again, everyone. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself, and then I'll pass it over to Kim, and then I'll let Kim choose somebody. So my name is Johnna Rocker Clinton. I am the Advisory Council Chair. I'm also an administrator at Alamogordo High School, and then I'll turn it over to Kim.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kimberly York, and I have the privilege of leading the Black Education Act throughout the state. And I will turn it over to Sandra.
Unmute. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? I don't see myself.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't find the, all right. Thank you. My name is Sandra Aaron. I'm a member of the council, and I serve on the Policy and Data Action Committee. And I think I just screwed up our name because we recently had a name change. Data for Action, I believe. And I'm going to turn it over to our chair of that subcommittee, Nancy Lopez.
Buenos dias, familia. My name is Nancy Lopez. I'm professor of sociology at the University of New Mexico. I also direct and co-founded the Institute for the Study of Race and Social Justice. And thank you, Sandra, because I actually still don't remember the name, but it was about action, right? So I co-chair along with Dr. Patricia Trujillo, the Data and Policy for Action. I want to say that's more or less the name. And I will turn it over to, let's see. I see Cynthia here.
Good morning. Good morning. Thankful that I'm here this morning. I dropped my phone in the sink last night. I'm Cynthia Wise. I am with the Borderlands and Ethnic Studies program department at New Mexico State University.
And I should have,
and because he has my initials, I will choose Christopher.
And just a correction, I should have said Dr. Cynthia Weiss. So sorry about that.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here. I am Christopher Woods. I'm with the Public Education Department, the Black Education Act. And my new title and my new position is the Family and Community Engagement Coordinator. And I think this is my first meeting here, so it's good to be here.
You have to pass it on to somebody, Christopher. You have to choose.
I know. I got stuck with the initials like before, but hey, I know Hakeem, so I'm going to pass it on to Hakeem.
Hey, Christopher. Good to see you yesterday. And hello to the committee. Hakeem Bellamy, originally on this council as a parental advocate because I have a freshman at Albuquerque High, but I also have a background in education. I've taught at the college level, and I've also taught at the high school level as a creative writing chair at the New Mexico School for the Arts. And I'm on the, even though I don't get there often, I'm on the Data Advocacy and Policy Committee and also on the Curriculum Committee. And I will pass it to Brandy.
Brandy is unable to introduce herself right now, but she is Miss Brandy Stone, and she is the director of the African American Student Services Center at UNM. So I'll choose Mercedes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mercedes Turner. I'm the Capacity Building Coordinator for the State Office of African American Affairs, and I'm the official representative for OAAA for this council. So good to see y'all on the line. I know I haven't been able to make the last Saturdays, so good to be here. Thank you, guys. Good morning. And I will pass it on to Joseph.
Okay. I think I am unmuted now. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
We're completing introductions. Yes. Okay. My name is Joseph Ulibarri. I am an Explore Academy teacher, and I represent one of the charter schools. I also am the chair of the Curriculum and Professional Development Committee. I do not know who hasn't gone yet since I'm late, so I'm going to pass on. If you will pick another person, please.
Yeah, I'll pick somebody for you. Dr. Monique, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Monique Matute Chavarria. I'm an assistant professor at New Mexico State University, and I am co-chairing the family subcommittee with Romulus. And I'll pass it to Romulus.
Thank you, Monique. My name is Romulus Charles. I am the co-chair, as Monique stated, to the Family Engagement Subcommittee. I'm the Director of Operations for the Native American Community Academy here in Albuquerque. And, was
Julia
also-
Rosa.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Julia Rosa would be next.
Okay, thank you, Kimberly.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm Julia Rosa Emsley. I'm the Hispanic Education Liaison for the Public Education Department. And I'm really happy to be here.
Awesome. I think that's everybody. Again, I'm so glad you guys are here, or you all are here. It's been good getting to see everybody, like I said earlier, at these different events, and happy Black History Month to everybody who just came in. I'll attach the agenda here in just a little bit, but I want to just review it and then I'll hand it over to Kimberly. So first we're going to talk about PED staff updates, and then Mercedes and Kimberly are going to talk about the Black Student Alliance collaboration, and then we'll go ahead and talk about council recruitment, per diem policy, and then we'll go ahead and do our committee reports, and then we'll have announcements, and then we'll be out. So Kimberly, I'm going to hand it over to you for PED staff updates, and let me get that agenda downloaded and into the chat.
Thank you so much. It doesn't look like we have any guests here, but I'm going to ask that you all indulge me just for a moment, because I never ever wanted to go unsaid how much I appreciate you all. This work is hard, and you all work very hard in your own professional work and in your own jobs, and you show up no less here for the Black Education Act Council. I can honestly say that I have the absolute best counsel ever, and I will never, ever refute that, and I will never, ever go back on that. Julia Rosa jokes all the time about her counsel wants to be like ours. And that is because people see the level of excellence that you all operate in. They see the commitment. They see you, period, in the community, at events, doing the work of this council. You all are not a paper board, a paper council. And so I never wanted to go unsaid that I really, really appreciate you. Yesterday, it warmed my heart. I got so much feedback yesterday. We did a tabling at the African American Legislative Day, and I got so many compliments about you, Johnna, about how as the chair, you are so knowledgeable about the act, about all the work that we are doing, and just like all the staff knows. And so I'm grateful for that. And Dr. Lopez, everybody always bragging about your policy work and your advocacy for Afro-Latina students. And just everybody. I mean, Dr. Mack is here. She's in another meeting, but the commitment is unwavering. And I never, ever wanted to go unsaid that I appreciate you all. I believe that our students deserve no less than 150%. And it is always grateful to be able to be with like-minded people. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Now on to staff updates. So we have the privilege of having with us our very first family and community engagement coordinator, who is Christopher Woods. And I'm going to allow Christopher to kind of talk to you all about his role and some of the things that he will be focused on.
Good morning, everyone. Well, then, thanks for having me. It's going to be great to work with you. It's great to meet the people that I've already met before, and this has been a wonderful journey so far. My role as the Family and Community Engagement Coordinator will be to travel to New Mexico, travel to school districts, get into the communities, introduce the people to the Black Education Act, introduce people to what we're all about. And that's the betterment and the uplifting of Black students in New Mexico. But language in our act includes us reaching out to all students of New Mexico. in making everybody's experience one that is harassment and racial free, and from K to 12 and beyond, improving the outcome of Black students in New Mexico. So I am going to be traveling New Mexico. I am going to get into the schools. I'm going to get into the districts. I'm going to get into the communities and let everyone know what the Black Education Act is all about. I look forward to meeting you. I look forward to going into your schools, into your communities, and just delivering the best possible, I would say, introduction of the Black Education Act to the state of New Mexico. And so that's going to be my goal, and that's my plan for this upcoming year and beyond. And I can't wait to get out there and start. Yesterday was a very good introduction to travel, meeting the legislature, and just having fun with everyone out in the community. So it was a really good experience, and I can't wait to dive into this job both feet first.
Thanks, Christopher. So just a little bit more about the specific things that that are under Christopher's job. He will be providing support to the hotline. All of our staff, whoever, once we are fully staffed, we are all charged with making sure that we are throughout the state spreading the good work and the good message about the Black Education Act. Christopher is also charged with developing programs and supports, providing professional development to teachers that focused on best practices for supporting Black students, in addition to making sure that there is data that supports all of the things that we are doing to support families and in our communities. Okay, so additionally, I would like to share that we will be posting our curriculum coordinator and our professional learning coordinator position. We have never had an admin, a biz ops, but so we will be posting 3 positions. We've kind of been holding off just to find out what the final plan was for the a return to work. And so those positions will be getting posted very soon. I also want to announce that I have been a longtime advocate of making sure that the Southwest is represented in everything that I do. And so I'm proud to let you all know that we do have a satellite office in Las Cruces now. And so Christopher and I are the only 2 members of the team that are in Las Cruces. And so we no longer have to travel daily to Las Cruces. PED is also working on other satellite offices to be able to support, our efforts throughout PED being in the community. And so our building isn't finalized just yet. And so we are currently still working remotely, but hopefully we will be physically in our office pretty soon. And so I look forward to inviting you all and sharing all of the amazing things that are going to come out of our office. We will be sharing space with a couple of other state agencies. And so again, more to come about that. Let's see here. Let me look back at the agenda. Oh, okay. So I'm going to ask if oh, wait a second. I have the wrong agenda up. I'm sorry. Johnna, what's the next thing on the agenda? I have the wrong agenda up on my thing.
No, that's okay. It's student support and community outreach, and then the BEA conference.
Okay, so
student support, community outreach.
Yes, so I am so glad to report to you all that we continue to hit the pavement in terms of responding to requests from school districts. So we are not just sitting at our desk twiddling our thumbs. We are out in the community. Just last week, Christopher and I were invited to go to Vista Middle School. And so we were doing culture chats. And so we had the students send us questions that they have about race and culture. And we had a deep dive conversation about those things. And we engaged their staff as well. And so we look forward to doing more of those kinds of things. And I know that Joseph and Johnna will share some of the things that they're going to be doing. But I'm proud to say that to date, we have served in person, we have served over 1,500 students throughout our state, and we look forward to continuing that momentum, making sure that they know that we are available, that we are accessible, and that we will be there if they call. To that end, we have also been doing a lot of, well, I've been doing a lot of presentations with regards to information around our draft of our my brain is drawing a blank, our status report. And so just letting people know that it is, that it has been drafted, but until it's been reviewed by our policy committee, we cannot disseminate that just yet. We have launched a full out celebration for Black History Month. And I hope that you all have been getting the flyers. We've tried to capture a lot of all of the things that are happening around the state, even though we may not be able to physically be a part of all of those things. I did have the privilege. I didn't know that I was on the program for the kickoff for Black History Month in Albuquerque with the Gospel Explosion, but I got in my car and I went. Miss Beverly asked me to come, and so I went. And so that was it was a great time to be able to be with about 300 people to share information about the act. The other thing that we've been very intentional about doing is making sure, thanks to Joseph and the curriculum committee, that we are in our one-pager about the Black History Month. We're providing resources for our educators. And so thank you so much, Joseph and the curriculum committee, for providing those resources. I've also been doing a series called New Mexico Living Legends. And so the whole goal of that is to make sure that people understand that we have rich history here in New Mexico. And we have some people, for instance, our very first conversation was with Miss Doris Hamilton, and she is recognized as being the first Black female principal in New Mexico. And so we were able to have a conversation with her, and those things are recorded. Just yesterday, I want to say thank you to Hakeem. We recorded our second series. Noah, Hakeem, remind me of Noah's last name.
Noah Barnett.
Yes, Noah Barnett, who is a absolutely phenomenal artist here, and he has created a mural, one of many murals in Albuquerque, and so you all will get to see that. But the whole goal is to shed light on all of the amazing talent and the legends that we have here in New Mexico. And so pretty soon we'll be interviewing 107-year-old Mr. Clayton Flowers, who is a former Tuskegee Airman. So. And then another thing that we've been trying to make sure that we're doing is having activities and things available for the family. And so in that one pager, as you all probably had saw, there is a month-long series that families can engage. And this is all brought by the people who created Black History Month. And so if you have any ideas about things that we can share or things that you think that we should be adding, please let us know. It has been very well received throughout PED. I can tell you I've gotten so many compliments about we've been sharing like Netflix and Hulu series that people can learn about, that Black people it's not just about slavery, right? And so trying to make sure that there's exposure to the rich wealth of all that we do and all that we are as a Black people. And so the other thing that I want to share with you is one of the things that's going to be coming up is a Black Student Association conference. And so I'm going to ask if Mercedes would weigh in just a little bit because there's some updates and we're still in the process of kind of getting everything together and getting everything finalized.
Yes, we are still in the process of getting everything finalized. We had pitched out some different ideas to do the New Mexico Black Student Alliance academic themed conference, which has to be done before the end of June 2023, since OAAA did secure funding from the Kellogg grant or Kellogg Foundation, Kellogg Foundation. So, you know, we are tied into those grant deliverables. So we had pitched some different ideas to maybe collaborate, but at this point in time, the latest and greatest idea came from Miss Brandy Stone to do more of like a leadership, still academic themed conference so that we meet those grant deliverables, but more of like leadership training for the 12 youth council members that we have to have for this NMBSA project. So I am still waiting to meet with my team because obviously our acting executive director, Mr. Charles Brito, will have to make the final decision on that. And from what I've heard through the grapevine, word on the street is that it will be a green light. So I think we just need to get together as far as me, Philip, and Charles from the OAAA team to finalize that. And I'll be so excited for that to move forward because I mean, we all know all of Miss Brandy's ideas are always so great. So I was really grateful to her for pitching that our way, and I'll be excited to get that going. But still trying to get the council members going, and we definitely want to have statewide representation for our 12 council members that need to be age 15 to 24. So far, I only have recognized a collegiate representative for the ABQ metro area, Miss Monique Aguilar. And then I also do have a representative in mind, again, for the ABQ metro area for a high school representative, Miss Cassidy Bennett from VSU Cleveland High School in Rio Rancho. But I want to get representatives. And then Charles' directive for that was that he wanted to have 4 collegiate reps and 8 high school reps. So like, you know, 1 collegiate rep through to represent the different regions across the state, and then 2 high school reps to reflect that. So if you guys know anybody in your districts, you know, Alamogordo, down south in Las Cruces, anybody that you guys want to refer to be on the council, please send them my way so we can get that going. I would greatly appreciate y'all's support. But that's pretty much where we're at with that.
Thanks so much, Mercedes. The other thing that I wanted to add, and this just emerged yesterday at the legislative session event, I ran into an amazing teacher who her students presented about the Black Education Act, and they are a multicultural school. And so I have found my gold mine with these middle schoolers. And so in addition to the high school level conference, we will be working very closely to do a middle school conference as well, so that we can begin to create a bridge so that those middle schoolers who are going to be soon high schoolers can just seamlessly transition into those council positions for OAAA and beyond. And so I'm really excited about that. I haven't had a chance to fully have a discussion with their leader yet, but we talked yesterday, and so we will definitely be working very closely together. And so there'll be more to come about that really soon. Okay. Lost my.
We didn't get a chance to talk about the BEA conference.
Oh,
So
yes.
I think, yeah.
Thanks, Johnna, for the reminder. So yes, the dates are set. June 7th through the 9th. It is going down. Building an Equity Bridge conference, and our sub theme is strengthening the pillars. And so we will be back at the Embassy Suites. Consider this a call for presenters. If you are interested, I know that some of you have already expressed an interest in being able to present at the conference. And so you will be getting more information. We will be sending out an official kind of call for presentations. And so if you know of someone who you think would be a good fit, one of the things that I'm doing this year that is very unique is making sure that on our first day, that the first day is going to be dedicated to school counselors, social workers, and other peripheral staff, because oftentimes, you know, when we have conferences, it's always the frontline teachers that get to go. But I think that for the ACT, we need to make sure that people understand that everybody has a role and everybody has something to contribute with regards to our students in that way. And so we're going to be providing continuing education units as well, so that we can make it worth their while. We're still rolling out all of the logistics, but as soon as we get more information, I promise that that will be coming forth in the next couple of weeks. And if it's okay, I would, Madam Chair, I would like to pause just really quickly, because we had, I think, at least 3 additional council members that just came in, and I wanted to make sure that we took the time to acknowledge them.
We are
Vicky.
thinking the same. I was thinking the same thing. So I know Kenneth came in and Vicky came in, and I think that is it.
Dr. Trujillo just also came
Oh,
in.
Dr. Trujillo came in. Okay. So, Vicky, you want to go and introduce yourself?
Good morning. I have to get used to using this, the app. Good morning. I'm Vicki Horn. I'm a science teacher in Las Cruces at Explore Academy. I'm working on with the curriculum committee. And is there anything else I need to say? I think I've met everybody here before. Is there anything else I need to say?
No, you just need to choose the next person.
Did you say Ms. Trujillo?
Yes, Dr.
Just
Trujillo and Kenneth. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
Dr. Trujillo.
Good morning. Please call me Patricia. I'm not going to turn my camera on because after a week at the legislature, I am in my pajamas still. And I'm sure you all don't want to see that mess. And so just good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for everything that's going on. I'm really excited to hear about everything and to get involved, and really looking forward to this conference. I would love, if anybody else is interested, I'm just going to put it out. When I was at Northern New Mexico College, I would teach ethnic literature for children and young adults. And so if we want to have a panel specifically on African American literature and how to teach it, I would love to be a part of that.
Okay, Kenneth, this all you.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Ken Stowe, here from New Mexico Public Ed Department, Director of Curriculum and Instruction. And I am going to second Dr. Trujillo's idea about a literature panel. But just panels in general, I think, go very well at conferences. So anytime we can get a student panel together, we can get a panel of teachers, our ancillary personnel, as you were talking about, Kimberly. Definitely excited for this convening. I think it's much needed. I think it's going to be very well attended. So yeah, thank you for giving me the floor for a second, and happy to be here.
Thank you, Kenneth. Kenneth is our #1 PED champion. So thank you for all your support always, Kenneth. I do want to just piggyback off of what you said, Kenneth, in terms of panels. So Brandy and I have already had a conversation, and so she is on tap to identify students that will actually, some of her UNM students that will facilitate workshops, but then we will also get some high school and middle school students as well. So thanks so much. We're all on the same page, so that's a good thing. All righty.
So we're gonna move into the review of the council per diem policy, Kim,
Yes.
and then council recruitment, and then introduction of names to be submitted to council for review. But I'll reiterate that if you forget. So the first thing is the per diem policy.
Okie dokie. Let me get that baby pulled up. It's right here on my screen. Okay. I'm learning to become friends with Teams because we're really not friends, but. Alrighty. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to, as I am learning more, taking deeper dives into the policy, into that statute, I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that you all are eligible for, if you are not already a paid public employee, that you all are eligible to receive a per diem and mileage, but cannot be compensated for like doing workshops and those other kinds of things. And so with that being said, I want to collectively say thank you to those of you who have been so patient as we are getting your retreat reimbursements processed. There's been a lot of interesting things that have happened, but please know that we are working diligently to get those processed. The one thing that I do want to bring up, and so that I can know, so that you all can know that I'm looking into this, it was brought to my attention that I guess at some point you all were receiving stipends of some sort for meetings. And what I need to clarify is if that is one, still allowable, because I wasn't aware that that was previously happening, and also if that applies to virtual meetings. I know for sure that we can do reimbursements for physical travel, but I just want to make sure that I get clarity directly from the financial people about whether or not there is, if we can provide per diem for our virtual meetings. So more of that to come. Okay, anybody have any questions about that?
Kim, were you talking about before you came to PED? Like, were people receiving stipends? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I know some people brought it to my attention that they had been receiving stipends, but I wasn't aware of that. And so again, I want to make sure that I go back and check with the money people before I say something that may or may not be accurate. So I want to make sure that that I'm speaking correctly before I confirm or not confirm that. And in fact, you know what, Kenneth, are you aware? Do you know?
So yeah, no, thank you. I think it's how you word things is really important in this space. It seems kind of splitting hairs. I do not think a per diem, and especially of course mileage is not allowable under this, but stipends are a question mark that's in my mind, right? So you may not be able to receive a per diem because you're not really somewhere doing something, right? And incurring expense because of the council meeting, the convening, whatever it is that you're attending, because it's virtual. However, stipends through this, I'm not sure about. So that would be something that we definitely want to check with the third floor on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm on the right track. I don't want to, say something that is not accurate. Okay. So I think we are now on to the next agenda item. And I did just look at it, my brain. Wait a second. I got it right here.
You sure? It's the council recruitment.
Okay, so one of the things that when we had our retreat back in October, one of the things that we talked about was specifically identifying possible people for our vacancies that we have under the different categories. And so I have received and do have some names and resumes that I am going to, I think what we decided, the chair and I decided is that I will forward all of those resumes to her. And based on the needs that you all have, she will then make recommendations for you all to vote on for some of those people. Dr. Lopez, I have to ask a favor of you, please. You had given me during the retreat names of some names of teachers, and I cannot find it for the life of me. I'm just going to be honest. Would you please mind resending me that information so that I can get it to our chair? And so that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll email it to you again.
Okay, thank you so kindly. Okay, so that's all that I want to share about that. There will be more information. As I said, I will forward those resumes to our chair.
Can I interject for just a little bit? And so Dr. Mack and I, our co-chair, she will be looking. So I will not be I will not be a tyrant and just looking at those and then filtering them through myself and sending them to you. So Dr. Mack and I will look at those and then forward them over to you.
I'm sorry. I'm so cautious because she said that to make sure that she's the vice chair. So yes, thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Okay, and then next was The introduction of names, do you have some names?
No, because I haven't
Okay.
submitted those resumes to you just yet.
Oh,
So we
okay,
can,
all right.
yeah, we can defer that one.
Okay, all right, then we'll go into our committee reports, with first being Joseph for curriculum and professional development.
Good morning. This Curriculum and Professional Development Committee met one time in December after our large gathering, and we met with Ken and a few others. We further discussed creating the database and creating an app. And what we're looking for in this app and database is more than what just the BEA wants to do. So we're looking at really creating a resource that would go across more than one platform, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so Ken said that he would find us some money to do this because it's not just a one agency direction. So we're really going to hope that Ken can find money for that type of thing. But we do want to support efforts of PED in creating this. I do think that New Mexico can be the leader in creating a database of resources that are searchable for standards-based, culturally relevant curricula that that are better than teachers pay teachers and things like that, right? These are free resources that teachers can go to at all times. Secondly, our big focus has been on developing professional development. So I am excited to share with all of you. We have 3 events planned for this month here in February. One in Albuquerque, one in Las Cruces, and one in Alamogordo. I'm currently working on the interactive portion of the presentation, but Kimberly will be sharing about 30 minutes presentation just introducing the Black Education Act. And then our team, Vicki, Johnna, and I will be introducing the CARE framework, the anti-racist teaching resource rubric, and there's the interactive presentation where the teachers themselves will have to use the framework and the tool. They will have to vet some suggested resources. They have to score the resources themselves. They'll have to do a discussion and a self-reflection at the end. And Johnna, I know I haven't gotten to talk to you just because this week has been crazy, but I will share with you this interactive PDF that I have. I will have finished actually quite soon, but it's interactive. All the links are on one page. All of the videos and PDFs are like embedded within. So I'm excited to utilize that so people don't have to go to one or multiple different areas for that. And that I think that's where we are. We would love to continue providing professional development to any other schools that are interested. So if you know of any other schools that we can hit right now, this is kind of our beta version that we'd like to, we're testing this to see before we start using it in other schools.
I like that beta version. I like that, Joseph. Okay, so
Madam Chair.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
so
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. I completely forgot that I was supposed to share something with you all, which is
Okay,
why
go ahead.
Julia Rosa is here. I'm so sorry. Is it okay if I interject really quickly?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay, so in terms of outreach, one of the other things that I am very excited to share is that we, as you all know, work very collaboratively also within PED. And so Julia Rosa, as the Hispanic Education Act liaison, she and I have been glued to the hip since she started. We are the 2 newest members of our team, so to speak. And so one of the things that we, with, taking the lead from Dr. Lopez, one of the things that we have been very, very intentional about is having conversation and making sure that we are intentionally identifying efforts and strategies to identify the unique needs of Afro-Latina students. And so we will be having a joint council meeting on April 8th with the Hispanic Education Act Council. And we're hoping to maybe to invite the other acts as well. But I wanted to invite Julia Rosa just to, because I know that she has to leave, if you wanted to just share a little bit about that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kimberly. So right now with the Hispanic Education Advisory Council, our only focus is that advisement to the secretary. So I'm really interested in learning more from this advisory and other advisories on how they deliver their advisements formally to the Secretary of Education. So in that retreat, I think one of the strands, in addition to some of this other stuff that you all do that is pretty amazing, just talking about how advisories could come together in designing joint advisements that speak to a wider a wider population and wider concepts that kind of help the NMPED break down some of the natural silos that happen in bureaucracies. So just thinking about how advisories can come together and really talk about what some of their priorities are and how we can possibly weave some of those together in advising the secretary.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julia Rosa. We really appreciate you being here, and we definitely want to collaborate. So then we're gonna turn it over. Kim, did you have anything else, Kimberly? Okay, all right, just make it.
Ken has.
All right, Dr. Lopez, I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Copeland, will you please mute?
I said Ken has his hand raised though.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Ken. You're muted, Ken.
You see that it's the Saturdays here. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to do two things. Provide a quick update around what Joseph was talking about with the Open Education Resource Network. And I'm going to drop a link in the chat for what Washington has done around their open education resources. And I think we're going to be going a similar route. And this route allows the PED to have like a microsite on which we host a variety of hubs, which could be a Black Education Act hub, or literature resources that serve identified Black students, right? Something along those lines. So it allows us to have a variety of different hubs, also link up hubs. So we want to have a partnership with PBS. We want to have a partnership with the New Mexico Archives for primary sources. So click that link, explore, reach out to me, tell me any ideas you might have. And then also Julia Rosa from the Hispanic Education Act, they had a great listening tour, and they have a great listening tour protocol and resources from that listening tour. So one thing that I would encourage as we begin to think about what this alignment could look like when we talk about the intersectionality there is, what could a joint listening tour perhaps look like in the future? So anywho, just a couple thoughts. Please check out that resource. Let me know your thoughts. I think that's the route that we're beginning to go. When it comes to implementation, we've gotten a little bit out of the exploration phase, and we're starting to look at initial implementation and how we're going to pay for that. So and I think we're looking very good on that effort. So thank you so much, and let me know your thoughts.
Okay, I was trying to unmute. All right. Yeah, thank you. And thanks for the link to, and you said this is in Washington State. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so OER has microsites with a variety of states. Washington State's one of our sister states that's got a high serving a high amount of indigenous serving communities, right? So we really look to them for guidance around their indigenous education and curriculum and resources. And so, yeah, I think they're kind of a model state when it comes to the open education resource work. So that's the site that we are looking at. We've started talking with Washington. We've started talking with the vendor that builds and provides the tech around these sites. So, and the cost is very reasonable. So I think we're going to be able to make this happen, and I'll continue to update the council as this work progresses.
That's awesome. Quick question for you, and I'm sorry, Dr. Lopez. Quick question though. So you say you partner with certain states. Is there a particular state that you partner with for Black education?
You see, no, Madam Chair, I think I would love some suggestions of states that we need to begin to talk to around that work. So I
Okay.
appreciate that.
We need, we need to make that happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So New Mexico is only the second state to have a Black Education Act, and Oregon is the first. And so maybe we can do something with Oregon, looking at their stuff too.
And
Yeah.
I would be interested in looking at who the data of what Black education looks like in certain states, and then looking to them for resources, especially when it comes to curriculum, you know, what is working. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at, instead of more of an act, but more of like, what's the action, what's the curriculum that is improving students' lives. And that would take research, but you know, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yes, Madam Chair, I definitely agree here, and I think Kimberly and I can start to talk about what that initial outreach to those other states may be. So we're bringing a unified front, and it's not just me reaching out or her reaching out, but we're reaching out together and having that unified front. And I think we would welcome any attendance from council membership to be part of those meetings as well. So I will interface with Kimberly offline, and we'll come up with a plan moving forward for that outreach.
Good idea. I like it. Okay, Dr. Lopez, I'm so sorry that we have waited so long to give you the floor for your committee report.
Not at all, and I'll invite Dr. Patricia Trujillo to jump in, but we met on February 1st, the Data and Policy for Action Committee, and our next meeting will be on March 1st at 5 p.m. If anybody's interested, just send me an email. So 2 things, our legislative priority is adding parent and guardian education to all applications from preschool to grad school for equity lifts. And I put all of this in the chat around 9:45 because there are a lot of pieces and I didn't want to miss anything. So if you want to follow along there. So the basic premise is that how do we know who we're serving if we don't do intersectional analysis? How many first-generation Black men graduate high school, college, grad school compared to continuing generation Black women, et cetera, et cetera? And if we treat Hispanics as a brown monolith, how will we know how many Black Latinas are earning, college degrees, et cetera? So I took the opportunity yesterday to talk to a couple of people in the legislature and drafted some language that I would love for you to send any feedback before Monday, because the last day to add anything. And it basically outlines that this would be required for any public school that receives capital outlay funds, as well as higher ed institutions, et cetera, and that it would be reported to the PED and the HED, and that it has to be available to the public, right? Of course, protecting confidentiality and all of that. So background information, you'll see a link there for a video that I presented as co-chair of the data working group and also the education committee of the governor's racial equity. This was in November 8th. It's about 8 minutes, but explains why intersectionality is important. In addition to a video presentation in 2021 to the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Ed, I have the talking points here that it can help us implement, of course, the BEA, the HEA, the IEA, the Indian Education Act, Hispanic Education Act, et cetera, Yazi Martinez, and that it's a great return on investment. It can help us apply for matching funds for serving underserved communities, can enhance workforce. It will help us meet the need of families who grew up in families that had no opportunity to have, education, and we could lead the nation. We would be the first in the country to do it. So I put the sample questions for K-12, and then also for higher ed. They have to change a little bit because for higher ed, we have to say, this applies to everyone. It would be for anyone when you were age 16, what was the highest level of education that your legal guardian had? So that's the question for higher ed. Of course, for K-12, it's at the time that we collect the data. So that the question would have to change slightly. I provide some references, on the importance of this data point for equity. And then I also just want to point out, we've done preliminary analysis at UNM, and we will find major differences by social location. If I was able to share the screen with you, it's also in the chat, I can show you. So for just as an example, for whites, for first generation college women from 2015, 44% graduated. Do you want to know what the figure was for first generation college Black women? 26%, right? For continuing generation Black women, meaning one parent had a 4-year college degree at age 16, only 28% graduated. For white women, that figure was 61%. So if we don't collect this data, we don't make that visible. And I have all of the information. We did this at UNM because I, as director of the Institute for the Study of Race and Social Justice, also started a consortium on race, gender, and class. And we had them start collecting this data point in 2014. Prior to that, we didn't have the ability to make this visible. So again, if you have any feedback on that, please send that to me over the weekend, because any bill that goes forward, anyone who could co-sponsor it, has to be done by early next week. The second item that we talked about was we have a unique opportunity right now to have our voice heard about what will be the future of data collection for Black communities in this country, because the Office of Management and Budget is reviewing and revising their standards. You can submit comments until April 12th. I put all of that information in the chat. And I want to tell you that I have been organizing in the Afro-Latino Forum to make it clear that the proposal to combine Hispanic ethnicity and race will lead and has already led to undercounts. So I'm not going to belabor that point. If you're interested, I will be doing a webinar with the Afro-Latino Forum in New York with other Afro-Latina scholars talking about why this is an anti-Black project, regardless of intention. It actually confuses people about, are you asking me, am I Dominican, Colombian, or Puerto Rican with race? They should be separate questions. So I'll end there because I know there are other people, but this is something that's visceral for me. I grew up in public housing in New York. There's a big difference between the Dominicans or Latinos that are racialized as Black and white in terms of their experiences with housing discrimination, with employment, etc. So if we're conflating two things, ethnicity and race, we make that invisible. I'll end there. And I'll invite anyone from our committee to add any thoughts, but all of this is in the chat.
Okay, Dr. Lopez, I just want to clarify. The first part of what you put in the chat, I think it's parental educational attainment for collecting data on parent guardian education for all students in preschool and K-12. You presented this to some legislative officers yesterday, and you have some questions in there and you would like us to give you some feedback on them. Is that what you're asking?
ASAP, because our committee has made it clear that we're not here just to talk. We're here to do actions that impact our students. And so part of it is, we can talk about this for years and do nothing. What are we going to do? So I'm hoping that if it doesn't happen this year, it could happen next year, but enough talk. We need action. Our kids are suffering. I already shared the data with you with the little that we have. We need this for every school in the state, and we'll be leading the nation. So yes, I do need feedback on that draft language. And if you look in your chat, it appears around 9:45 a.m. That's the section. And I put my emails there.
Is it okay if I copy and paste what you put in the chat in like a Google Doc and then put a link in the chat? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, I'll do that here in a few minutes.
Yeah, that would be great.
And
you
I also,
too by Sunday, hopefully.
and just want to say, I'm also trying to capture it for the notes I'm taking, all that she put in.
Okay,
And
great. I've
I
already
have
copied
a Word
it.
document. I can send both of you, Sandra and Kimberly. So, and Johnna. So what we can do is try to identify who could sponsor. I spoke to several people who were interested, but who's actually going to be the sponsor, we'll see. And it may not happen this year, that's okay, but the conversation is starting. We can build a little movement and make it clear. This is gonna help us apply for federal grants. It's gonna help us make sure that we are serving all of our students, and it's gonna make these inequities visible, right? We want everyone graduating. And if we don't look at it this way, we're missing some very important inequities. But don't forget, you only have until April 12th also to send in your comments. And I put in a lot of information there on why combining Hispanic ethnicity and race is not good for equity. And we need to let the OMB know that.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez, for all your work. We don't know when you have time to like have fun because you're always doing the work. You are always doing the work. All right, so we'll move on to family and community engagement. And
Before,
that is,
I'm
I'm
sorry, this is Patricia. Before we move on, I also
Okay, go
just put something in the chat. Is in the higher ed world, there's been a lot of traction on this Gallup study that came out this week that shows, unfortunately, some pretty negative outcomes for Black students in universities. And this is a national study, but I thought it would be important for us to look at this and have a conversation about it to see how we can't also not only connect to what Dr. Lopez was just saying, but also think about how we serve Black students on our higher ed campuses. And so I just wanted to put that in there and also just flag for the group that the higher ed department is sponsoring a different kind of data collection study right now, which is we're doing a basic needs insecurity study at 28 of our public institutions. It is live right now, and that is basically to find out about food insecurity and housing insecurity in particular for college students across the state. And so that data will be coming out and shared publicly May 5th at UNM. We're going to be having a big data reveal, and we'll make sure and invite this group to that gathering.
thank you so much.
I had a question for Dr. Patricia. Do you know if that survey collects parent educational attainment?
I'm going to have to double check. I know I saw a version of it, Dr. Lopez, that did have a very robust parental educational question on it. But when you were speaking, it flagged for me that I need to go back and look. I can't answer that right now, but I will get back to you.
And is that something that could be added? I know that it's live, but if it's not there, then we're really not capturing a very important axis of inequality. So I'm just hoping that it could be added because it's a statewide survey. If it's not there, I hope it is there.
I hope it is too.
I'm looking at something. I'm looking at something that's on the link, and I don't see anything about parents as far as the degrees that they have, but I do see something about Black students being caregivers of adult family members or friends. But I don't see anything about parent education so far.
So that's an interesting thing because, again, this is something that's capturing really the experiences of a lot of our communities that are marginalized, right? That there's a color of wealth, right? And if we don't have a data point, we're not going to get income from everyone. I wish we were, but something like parent SES, especially if we're talking about students, then we're missing a very important data point. So I hope that can be conveyed, that when there's statewide surveys that are using our tax funding to examine, problems and solutions, that we also include that. But you're saying that you're not seeing that question. I haven't seen the survey yet.
I'm just looking at the survey methods that's listed on the link that was given. And basically, they're just looking at, from what I can see, students who are adults between the ages of 18 to 59 that have a high school diploma or an equivalent. And they're looking at how successful they are, I think, in college. I'm just trying to paraphrase this. So they're looking at them, those people who are currently enrolled in a certificate program, and they are considering things like, I'm looking here, it says 21% of currently enrolled Black students say they feel discriminated against frequently or occasionally at their institution. 15% are caregivers for adult family members, and 59% of Black bachelor students have greater flexibility in work or personal schedule as very important to their remaining enrolled. So I don't see anything about family background or their family having had a successful completion of a degree program. I don't see anything related to that.
And just to clarify, the link that I put in the chat is for the Gallup survey that was just done. And so those statistics are from that survey, Dr. Lopez, not from the statewide survey. I'll double check with the PI from the statewide survey about your particular question.
Thank you so much. And I put more references there in the chat on the importance again. All the research shows that is a crucial data point.
Okay, anything else on data and policy? All righty, so we're gonna move on to family and community engagement with Dr. Monique Matute Chavarria. Go ahead.
Romulus and I will both give updates today. I'll just give a quick update and then Romulus will take over. The family subcommittee has been meeting bi-weekly. We have some fun upcoming events coming up. Dr. Sims has joined our committee and he has voiced some concerns that Black educators have across New Mexico State. So our committee is now going to support Black families and their children and students and teachers. So we just developed a teacher's needs assessment this past week that we are waiting on approval from PED to hopefully roll out next week at our event so that we can start to provide some support and resources to Black educators across New Mexico. So if you want to take a look at that survey, it's in the drive, and provide feedback as well. We'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll let Romulus take the floor.
Can I interject for just a little bit? So question about that survey, that will be something that PED rolls out if it is approved by them?
No, in the past, before Kim came on as the liaison, we had to get the family needs assessment and the student needs assessment approved by PED before we were able to disseminate it. The students assessment and families assessment has been disseminated. I think we got some data from the Martin Luther King event in Albuquerque a few weeks ago, so we're just waiting on getting the data back. So we would like to disseminate the teacher needs assessment as well soon, once we get approval.
So then that will be at events that we host, like you'll have it at events that we host. I'm wondering, do we have to be there for that? Because we just recently did a panel, Brandy and I, at for OAAA, and there were teachers there that had lots of concerns. A lot of them were the only Black teachers in their institutions, and they had a lot of concerns. So I'm wondering, would OAAA be willing, or I know we probably need to work out the kinks of that, and Kimberly would probably be the person who would, be able to find out, would we be able to, provide that survey at events like that, or how can we push it out? Can we push it out at our own schools, or how can we, once it's approved, obviously, how can we make sure that lots of teachers get to take the survey and voice whatever their opinion is about how they feel at their schools?
Yeah, Dr. Sims said he had like a listserv because he just recently did a study on Black educators in New Mexico. But Mercedes is also on our committee, so she'll probably be able, I can follow up with her. We're meeting on Monday again before our event to see if she can disseminate it through OCHIP as well. The school district, that's where it was sticky. That's where we were trying to get approval from PED because I believe we can't send it to the schools or districts directly. It would have to come from PED. And so we never got the follow-up about how we can go that route because that was our concern too, because it's really hard to get the family needs assessment off the ground because we didn't have direct contact with the families outside of those events, town hall meetings that were happening last year.
Thank you. Thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I'll just add the second portion of that update with the event that I believe Kimberly had attached in the meeting agenda that was sent out for this council meeting. That will be happening on Friday. And we will be hosting it at NACA, which is at NACA's CNM campus here in Albuquerque this Friday. And the intention, of course, is to bring the community, especially Black families, together in Albuquerque and just kind of have a touch point for the Family Engagement Committee to, disseminate the surveys as well as potentially create a listserv or begin to create a listserv and see what families would be interested in potentially forming a subcommittee meeting with us. That way we can have another touch point to garner their feedback on a consistent basis. So that'll be happening this Friday, the 17th, this coming Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, the details are going to be on the flyer. And it will be hosted by NACA, the school I currently work for and serve, that provides culturally relevant education, and just to kind of see what NACA does and kind of communicate that when it comes to the outcomes of Indigenous culturally relevant education. So please come by. Everybody's more than welcome to come. Again, the information is on the flyer. And please disseminate that as well to families across the state. I know a few people will be traveling in to be there as well. So that'll be this.
Vicky, real quick, I'm so sorry, but Vicky, you're sharing your screen, just so you know. Okay, sorry, Romulus, you can go ahead.
No, that was perfect timing. I was wrapping up. So again, that flyer is going to be in that attachment that was sent out with the agenda.
Okay, I appreciate it. We're gonna move on to me. I'll be updating you about the hotline. There you go. So there's a couple of things going on with the hotline. So if you noticed yesterday, some of you were at the or at African American Day, and you might have saw some of the literature that we had on the table. There's been an update to the colors. So, red and black, while beautiful, kind of signals crisis. So the hotline is more of a resource and not really we're coming in and investigating and fixing everything. So the colors have kind of been toned down. The language has been toned down to just let everybody know, like, this is a resource. This is to follow up, to support you, things like that. So phase 2, data migration, updating form fields to reflect PED identifiers for school and districts. So the phase 2 is going to start here very shortly. We've already been talking to MTX. Also looking to work out the scope of work for a marketing video, like a very short one and a longer scale one. Also, BEA is in the process of bringing in a social worker who will provide support for identification of incidents life cycle. And also, we've been working on going out to school districts and doing a tour, just letting people know what the hotline is, connecting with administrators, students, teachers, families, and communities. And that is all I have. Any questions or anything you want to add? Kimberly?
Yeah, I forgot to add this in my update. So our social work intern, we have already secured her, and we're just waiting for her contract to be finalized, and then she'll be starting with us. And Brandy, thank you for your information in the chat. Do you have a direct contact over there for APS now that Arlen is gone? I don't know who that person would be, but we did send out the flyer information to all of the LEAs. Sorry, local
Yeah,
education agencies. So it went to all the schools.
I would still send to Tanya, Campos, and Armando because they just had a meeting yesterday, Thursday, and I didn't see any of that information go out to the families.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we definitely sent it out on Wednesday through PED. So I will make sure if you could email me those people's contact information, because the only contact that I had at APS was Arlen.
Before we move on to public relations, I want to make some time for Mr. Tim Green, and then I think I don't know if Mr. Copeland is still here. I don't think I see him anymore. So we do introductions at the beginning, Tim. And so we just state our names and what work we're doing. And that's pretty much it. So if you could unmute and introduce yourself. If you can't, just let us know in the chat. Okay, he might not be available at the moment. So we'll move on to Kimberly for public relations.
Yes, and I kind of covered this earlier, but just to let you all know, so I have identified a student group that definitely could be a part of this committee and helping us spread the word. They did an amazing presentation yesterday about Black Education Act. The student group did, and so I'm going to be reaching out to their teacher and their sponsor to make sure that we can close the loop on getting this public relations committee going, because right now that we don't have any students right now.
Okay, right now I just want to, we're just going into announcements, but I do want to ask Kimberly, what do you think about us getting on the new interim secretary's calendar? And do we want to work on what our agenda looks like, what we would be talking to the interim secretary about? How do we want to set a date and then work on stuff? Like, how can we go about getting on that calendar and doing like what we're supposed to do, which is advise the secretary, right? So we definitely want to do that. I think that's really important. But do you have that connection? How can we get in there? How soon? And how can we start moving this forward?
I can definitely, I do have the connection and I will definitely reach out to her. I honestly do not know kind of what the time frame of her being with us is. And I do know that she's very active in the legislative sessions right now. And so I don't want to make any promises. Ken, do you have a better timeline or better information that could inform what Brandy's asking? I'm sorry, Johnna.
Madam Chair, no, I would assume though that we will have a new official secretary announced after session. So interim secretary going to lead us through session. Likely the month after or soon after that would be an official appointment by the governor's office for a new secretary. But I think if we can, ripe is the time to get the ear of our interim secretary, because she certainly has the governor's ear more than any secretary that would be appointed to us would have, right? So it's almost like we're in a position where we have a more direct line to the governor's office than we ever have had before. So yeah, that's my two thoughts there.
Thank you so much. So I love to get on her calendar, but I see Dr. Lopez's hand is up, so go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a suggestion about collaborating with the Legislative Day Council or Committee. I forget what their exact name is. And one thought that I guess we will talk about at our March meeting is what if we partnered with some of the schools so that the students are researching the current bills that are being proposed and have like their own interpretation of what the consequences would be and what, whether it would be beneficial from the perspective of Black students or not. And I'm just wondering if there could be like a policy institute. And I think that some of the teachers are probably already doing that, but they might not be aware that this committee exists. And the ethnic studies teachers is a natural place, but all of the social studies teachers for sure. So I know that the next day is not until 2025, but I just wonder if we could do a policy, like real time, this is happening right now, so that it becomes more of timely intervention with youth voice. For instance, one of the bills that I think that is being proposed right now is voting for students that are 16, 17, I don't remember the exact date, but under 18. And so what an interesting opportunity for students to have a voice on what the policy consequences of that would be from their perspective, from the perspective of Black students. So it's just a suggestion. I don't know what that would look like. It would take a lot of planning, but that they would actually be meeting with legislature and reporting on this.
I think it has a natural home in government class too, and that would be seniors. So it would be even more perfect because they're about to be 18 or they're already 18 and about to move into adulthood where they need to think about how policy affects them a little bit more than you might in high school, although policy affects all children, but still like they would just be a little bit maybe more aware. So I think it would have a good place in a government class as well. Any history class, but I think government is a natural home for that kind of thing. And seniors could probably be responsible enough to be authentic and real about what the consequences are and have a real voice in that. So I think it's a great idea. And I hope Sandra is taking copious notes on that so we can remember it.
And we also have the recording too, so.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah. So I just have to say, I kind of took a break. There is so much I try to really capture the links and all of that you may have noticed from notes that I've sent him in the past. So there were a lot this time, so I kind of relaxed a little bit and didn't get this. So
it's okay. We have the recording. Like Kimberly said, we have the recording, so it's all good, Sandra. You are doing an awesome job. So our next meeting, no, you're doing awesome.
Hey,
our next
I'm
meeting
sorry,
will
Johnna,
be, go ahead,
I'm sorry,
ahead.
Madam Chair. Can we allow Hakeem? He has a burning suggestion that I don't want us to miss.
Oh yes, of course, please.
Hello, can you hear me? Is this thing on?
This thing is on.
This thing is on. Thank you. So I just put a link in the chat, and Sandra, yeah, like that is a thankless job, being a secretary, trying to keep track of our meetings. But well, not thankless. We thank you plenty, but it's hard. But what I put in the chat was yes, there is a model for exactly what Dr. Lopez is talking about. I'm glad that she brought it up, and maybe not at this scale yet, because I feel like Dr. Lopez was talking more about how can we enlist students who are doing policy work for their classes to help us out with some policy considerations. But in the long arc, right, of justice, as King said, that there could be an opportunity for them, for these students to actually be on a pipeline or a path or a farm league for doing policy work, at the legislature or at Congress, the United States Congress. And some of y'all know Regis Pecos, dear friend of mine and kind of mentor. What he's put together at Santa Fe Indian School is jaw-dropping for Native students who want to pursue a path to legislation someday. And this could be like a little kernel of what that looks like in the long run, getting students involved in the policies that will shape their education system, frankly. And so I think there's something to look at over there. they get all kind of funding, and they do it at Princeton University in my home state of New Jersey. We'll get there one day, but I think it's worth having a conversation about them, about their model. And then relatedly, there is a current opportunity open through the Institute of Policy Studies in DC for one student, one either undergrad, recent undergrad grad, or recent grad school grad. That is the opportunity to make $40,000 a year to work in policy, as long as they promise to come back to New Mexico and do it here for a nonprofit. And I put that link in the chat.
All right, thank you for sharing, Hakeem. Anything else? Nothing pressing? Okay, so our next meeting will be March 11th at 9 a.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. Dr. Mack is trying to get back in. All right, and just for my closing remarks, I just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you for the work and the effort that you put into all that you do for our students. I appreciate you for being here. Again, I appreciate seeing your faces out and about. So if I can get to another event, I will be there as much as I can. So make sure, Kimberly, make sure you keep sending that stuff out so we all know what's going on. And then shout out to what department is that in PED that is updating us on all the sessions that are going on? What department is that? Shout out to them. Because that has been like really, really beneficial. I really appreciate it. So thanks for sharing that, Kimberly. Do you have any remarks, Dr. Mack? We're just doing closing remarks. Okay, she's probably not able to speak. Kimberly, do you have any closing remarks?
No, I just want to just end the way I began, just to say thank you all for your unwavering support and all that you do. I really appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to all the amazing things we have coming up soon. And hopefully you all will be able to join us on Friday. So that's exciting. We've already gotten some donations. So hopefully you all could join us for some fun.
And you sent that out, right? You sent out, it's for the family and community engagement event, right? Yeah, and there is a sign-up sheet if you want to purchase some things to donate. And if we're not able to come, how do we donate? Can we send a cash out to somebody? Like, how can we go about donating if we're not going to be there?
Yeah, I'll email you. I'll email that out.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, that is it. Did I hear somebody call my name? No? Okay, all right. So that is all. And you all enjoy I'm gonna let you reclaim your time. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And again, happy Black History Month if I don't see you again before February is over. Bye, everybody.
Bye.